Hey guys, welcome back to the WODdoc Project 365, episode 982. Guys, you're following along on YouTube, please jump on over to WODdoc.com. Check out all of our full-length videos for free. That's where we house them. What we're talking about today is 17.3 strategy. Got a couple tips for you guys. There's a lot of people out there putting out great tips, so I'm going to add my input, take it or leave it. Still getting it anyway. First and foremost, right? Wrap your damn hands, right? I see all these war pictures on Instagram already of everybody showing like a pound of flesh taken off their hands. It's just not necessary, right? You have 2 more weeks of workouts going on. That will affect you down the road. And if you even wanted to retake it, it's definitely going to affect your retake strategy. You need to be able to hang on the bar. You need to be able to manipulate objects. So take care of your hands, wrap your hands, keep them safe. You have 2 more weeks of competition left if you haven't done this already. With that being said, first one that we can go to is smaller sets. The mistakes that I've seen so far is that these sets and the pull-ups aren't daunting for a lot of the athletes that we're working with. So the tendency is to take these sets that are just a little bit too much. Don't be afraid to break these sets up. You can take short breaks, shake out your arms, because our arms are so important. They're gonna be overhead for the majority of this workout. They're overhead when you're doing your pull-ups. They're overhead when you're supporting a weight overhead, all right? So, smaller sets, because this is gonna save our lats, or at least try to decrease the amount of blood flow, the amount of lactic acid that builds up in these lats. Of course, the lats themselves aren't a direct stabilizer of the shoulder, but they will, as they fatigue, we tend to get where the bar starts to drift away from us, right? Because we don't have that extension and that internal rotation. It's hard for us to lock in as we come up into that lift. So what will happen is the bar drifts away and we have all this funky stuff that starts to happen. At worst case scenario, or I should say at best case scenario, you're gonna have some sloppy technique. It's gonna take you more energy per rep to complete that. At worst case scenario, you're missing lifts. And if you're missing lifts, that's where, in whichever level you're trying to get to, it becomes very taxing. If it's a lighter load for you and you can reload really quick, it's only about 15 seconds or so. But if it's a heavier set where you have to really set up for this, we're talking 35, even 40 seconds for some of the guys if it's in that very high percentile range for whatever their effort level is, right? So, smaller sets. And then consistent rest intervals, okay? And this kind of correlates with the smaller sets. Even in the lower weights, super important to be able to pace through these weights, take a consistent break in between each one, because that's gonna allow you to create a consistent heart rate, okay? If you start to get these undulations, it's gonna be really, really hard. That heart rate spikes. It's super difficult to get anything stabilized through the midline with your heart rate racing through your chest, okay? So same thing that goes with the pull-ups as well. If you're trying to crank out all these pull-ups, even if your arms themselves aren't becoming so fatigued that you can't stabilize it, sometimes it's the cardiovascular strain. Heart starts breathing, your heart starts pumping a lot, you have to breathe really heavy. That makes it difficult to stabilize overhead. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about grip variation, okay? Everyone has a great grip a perfect grip that they like to do their chest to bars with, but what we're gonna do is suggest for you to vary those with getting on and off of the bar. Why? Because when we vary them, we're just changing the vector of where our shoulder is at, okay? Obviously not this close or anything like that, but you get the idea of changing the width, maybe going a hand grip out, maybe going a hand grip narrow. You don't wanna go much more than that, but that's gonna just allow a couple different, vectors to strain through the shoulder, which will allow you to stress the different fibers of the shoulder a little bit different. Give it a little bit more variation, possibly save some of that fatigability, all right? So, these are my tips for 17.3. Good luck to all you guys out there. Questions, comments, post them below. And until tomorrow, we're optimizing function to optimize performance.